Jai Hind and welcome to MND The Futurists. What's happening in the trade war now? I made a video on how we are in the digital war. I hope that video has been seen by people in India as well to push your perspectives in the war, about the war. Now, battlefields are getting sophisticated. The future we once spoke of is unfolding now. That's exactly what my initiative of this futurists bring to life. Now, currently, the US and China locked into a power struggle so intense it's almost as if they are consuming each other, driven by egos that have reached a boiling point. Now, yesterday, April 8th, 2025, the world didn't just see a market tremor, it bore witness to opening a salvo of a new kind of warfare, one where the weapons are the tariffs and soldiers are stock indices, and the battlefield is the global economy. This is not the clunky boots on the ground conflict of 20th century with its predictable rhythms of logistics and troop movements. No, this is a sleek, sophisticated duel between United States and China, a clash of titans that's rewriting the rules of power in real time. Forget the functional warfare, this is the economic combat 2.0, and on the day one, the scoreboards was a wild mix of pain and triumph. Now, it all kicked off when Donald Trump, never one to shy away from a fight, dangled the threat over Beijing an additional 50% tariff on Chinese goods. China's stock market didn't just flinch, it crattered, plunging 10% as investors bolted for the exits, shredding billions in value faster than you can say trade war. Now, Xi Jinping, steely as ever, didn't blink, fight to the end. He declared a vow that rang out like a war drum across the Pacific. Now, by noon, the White House made it official 104% tariffs on China were locked in, a move very boldly. Meanwhile, US markets threw a party. The Dow soared over 3%, the S&P Global 500 jumped 3.2, and the Nasdaq leapt 3.6. So, who's winning this side? China's corner, a bloody nose, but still standing. Let's start with China. That's 10% market drop was a brutal opener. Think of it as a haymaker to the jaw, with 104 tariffs now choking off the US market access. China's export machine responsible for roughly $500 billion in annual trade with the United States is coughing up smoke. Now, factories from Shenzhen to Shanghai are trending down to nightmare higher costs, shrinking demand, and a supply chain that suddenly got nowhere to go. Analysts estimate this could shave 1 to 2% of China's GDP growth by year end, a hit Xi Jinping can't shrug off lightly in an economy already wrestling with debt and slowing post COVID recovery. But don't count China out. Xi Jinping fight to the end is not just a bravado, it's a strategy. China's been prepping for this moment, diversifying trade with Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia via the Belt and Road Initiative. The US might be their third largest market, but it's not their only lifeline. Beijing's got a war chest, 3 trillion in foreign reserves, and a playbook that could include devaluing the yuan to juice exports elsewhere or even dumping United States. The treasuries to spike American borrowing cost. Plus, they dominate key sectors, electric vehicles 60% of global production, rare earth minerals 80% of supply, and semiconductors where they are racing to close the gap. So yesterday's pain is certainly real, but China's betting on endurance, not a quick knockout for sure. Now, what is the America's edge? Market cheers, but cracks loom. Over in the United States, Wall Street reaction was pure, very stormy, very fast. The Dow's 3% surge closing around 372.795, and S&P 3.2%, climbing up. The Nasdaq 3.6%. Lean screamed one thing. Investors think Trump got the upper hand. That 104 tariff is a kind of sledgehammer aimed at smashing China's export edge and forcing the world to rethink supply chains. American manufacturers think steel, autos, and tech could see a renaissance if companies relocate production stateside. Now, Trump's team claims this is a leverage incarnate. Punish China rally allies and bring jobs back home, with most nations reportedly softening under US pressure. Canada 25%, counter tariffs aside, the narratives seductive, America's flexing, and it's working. But zoom out and the cracks appear. Those tariffs, they are a tax on American consumers too. Estimates peg the cost at $1,900 per household annually as prices for everything phone, clothes, appliances spike. Jobs tied to cheap imports, retail, logistics could evaporate, and inflation already a ghost at the Fed's table. Might roar back. The market rallies. A sugar high yesterday gains mask a volatile week where the S&P flirted with bear territory. Dow 17 to 19% from February peaks. So if China retaliates by flooding markets with cheap goods elsewhere or weaponizing its rare earth monopoly, the United States could find its victory lap cut short. So the new battlefield beyond bullets to balance sheets. This is not a kind of, your grandpa's war. Traditional functional levels, mobilizing armies, securing supply chains have been sidelined for a digital age. Slugfest where the weapons are economic levers and the casualties are measured in points and percentages. Trump's wielding the United States consumer market like a club, betting that China's reliance on exports, 18% of GDP, buckles first. Xi Jinping countering with production dominance and a willingness to bleed longer, knowing America's political patience might crack under consumer backlash. It's a chess, not checkers. Every move ripples through global supply chains. From Tokyo down, 3% are also open to Germany's factories bracing for cost hikes. So yesterday's tally, China down 10%, US up 3%. Looks like an American edge, but it's a single skirmish in a sprawling campaign. The United States landed a punch, China took it and promised a counter for sure. Goldman Sachs upped its recession odd. Citi slashed China's GDP forecast to 4.2%, and 3/4 of Americans expect price hikes. So this war is not about who's winning today, it's about who's still standing when the dust settles. Who's winning? A draw with teeth. Right now, it's a deadlock with bite. The United States has momentum, market love, bully, and Trump's tariff wall is a bold play that's got Beijing reeling. But China's got stamina, Xi Jinping not blinking for sure, and their economic toolkit's deeper than Wall Street's cheerleaders does admit. The real winner, too early to call. If United States consumer turn on Trump or China pivots fast, the tide shifts. This is a modern warfare, sophisticated, ruthless, and unfolding lives. Round one's done, round two already brewing. Welcome to the new world of war, and again, do watch the video of this digital warfare which I created. Stay tuned and do subscribe to our channel, and please do like and do share the video. Do share your comments. Do share your comments in our comment section. Jai Hind and Jai Bharat.